I always thought there was something off about that bright, bubbly world under the sea until the night I found the faded Polaroid tucked behind my childhood trophies. It was a grainy snapshot of a boy wearing square pants, standing in front of a house that looked nothing like a pineapple. His wide grin froze my breath. The caption, scrawled in shaky handwriting, read simply, "Bob, age 14. I stared at it until the walls around me blurred and memories I'd tried to bury resurfaced. Bob was my neighbor, the kid who always offered me his last French fry, even when he had only one. I remembered the afternoon he veered off his bike on that steep hill, the sickening crack of his skull against pavement, and how the world went black for him. At his funeral, I thought I'd buried him forever. But here he was again, haunting me with a smile I half remembered from my nightmares. When Bob died, something shattered beyond his body. His soul clung to life so fiercely it seeped into the ocean's depths and latched onto a sponge. I discovered this the next morning, standing on the shore as the sun peeled back darkness. The sea slippers bobbed gently, but in the way they moved, I saw his last gasp for breath, felt that desperate pulse in my own chest. Patrick was the first friend Bob made under the waves. Or rather, John, his old self, who used to stumble through our backyard, head injury still raw, mind flickering between clarity and confusion. I remember patching his split forehead with antiseptic, telling him it'd be okay even though I wasn't sure. When John fell from the roof, I was the one who found him. His eyes were empty, like a candle snuffed out too soon. Now, as a starfish, he laughed the same goofy laugh, oblivious to the storm brewing in his hollow skull. And then there was Dan, the lonely boy with a teddy bear named Zippy tucked under his arm. I envied how he clutched that ragged toy for comfort, while I had nothing but silence. Dan's heart gave out one night after a nightmare about Zippy's stitched grin turning razor sharp. The coroner called it a heart attack, but I knew it was the terror of being hunted by your own mind. As Squidward, he still trembles at sudden noises, as though every startled gasp could end him all over again. Mr. Krabs, Jim back then, was a different story. He laughed at his own reflection, counting coins with a manic grin, as if the heft of currency could fill that emptiness inside. I remember his family's vault, a cavern of noise when he danced between towering sacks of bills. That night, the bags tumbled, and his bones crunched like the registers he so adored. Now, deep beneath the waves, he hoards memories like gold doubloons, hugging rusted coins with the same craving desperation. I never imagined I'd cross paths with Sandy, the last to arrive. Sally was a marvel on land. Science fair trophies lined her shelves like silent judges, and her fists moved faster than her classmates could follow. But one martial arts match changed everything, a rib-cracking kick that stole her breath and life. Under the sea, she builds domes of coral with the same precision and wears her karate belt like a warning sign. Intelligence can be a weapon, but it cannot shield you from fate. They glide through Bikini Bottom, these lost souls, chasing shadows of homes they can never touch again. I watched them gather one night around a sunken mirror, peering at reflections that never showed their true faces. I heard their whispers, fragments of childhood memories, echoed regrets, the silent howls of longing for mothers they would never see. The ocean muffles everything, but their grief cuts through me sharper than any scream. I tried to speak to them once, Standing on the deck of a rusted shipwreck, I called their names as if summoning ghosts at midnight. Bob, John, Dan, Jim, Sally. My voice trembled across the water. SpongeBob turned those large, round eyes toward me, and for a moment I saw Bob's kindness, the way he'd bail me out of trouble, covered in skinned knees and scraped elbows. Patrick's vacant grin stretched too wide, as though he remembered nothing but laughter. Squidward's lip curled in a frown that belonged to Dan's lonely heart. Mr. Krabs clicked his claws in mock approval, counting coins that had lost all worth. And Sally bowed, offering a silent wave that felt like a taunt. We rebuild what we cannot recover. I stumbled backward, the boards beneath me rotting like unhealed wounds, and I understood that they could never go home. Their human lives ended too abruptly, their bodies swallowed by earth or steel, leaving only specters, hungry for a second chance. The sea creatures were merely vessels, skin-deep facades housing battered souls doomed to drift between worlds. Now, I keep that Polaroid in a small glass case, along with a cracked seashell Bob once pressed into my hand. Sometimes I hear him whisper in the hush before dawn, urging me to remember him as he was, a boy with boundless kindness, not a sponge with square pants. But the tide is relentless, pulling me back to this haunted carnival beneath the waves. They say children's laughter is the purest sound, but theirs has turned hollow, like wind whistling through an abandoned house. And I fear that if I ever snap that Polaroid in two, their sorrow will spill out, dragging me with it into the cold embrace of the deep. Some nights I dream of a world where they rest in peace, where Bob's laughter echoes on sunlit streets instead of clammy seafloors. But dawn always breaks too soon, and I find myself watching the horizon, waiting for shape-shifting sponges and starfish to rise and reclaim their borrowed skins. The ghosts of children never truly leave you. They swim beneath your skin, whispering that the line between life and death is thinner than you think, and sometimes you can't tell which side you're living on.